to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking to my ball. 'Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Tuesday, December the 10th. I'm your host, Michael Leva, joined as always by your friend Josh Moser of WSVN 7, South Florida's #1 news station. Josh, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I just got back from South Florida. I was down there for only 2 days. Quick game. Had some travel issues on the way back, which you'll hear on another show I'm going to do. Delta. They weren't great Monday, but they might make up for us. They're coming through with take some free Sky Miles. We're so sorry for your issues. So if they come through, I might be doing live reads for free for Delta if they make up for a bad Monday for me. So, okay, I'm doing okay. The Dolphins won. I had a couple days in beautiful, sunny South Florida, and everything's great in the world.
Yeah, especially when the Dolphins win. It was close there for a second. And
yes, it was. And before... I'm going to get this out to the top of the show. We got some exciting news today, Dolphins Talk. We are nominated for not one, Josh, but 2 Sports Podcast Awards. Now, last year we were nominated for 1 for Best Team Podcast, and we were nominated again this year. Sports Podcast Awards. These guys are legit. It's a big deal. We're nominated for Best Team Podcast. We made the final 12, and we are up against, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a bunch of podcasts. Some cover the Minnesota Timberwolves, the San Antonio Spurs. There's one that covers cricket. You got a Patriots one up here. We got to beat the Patriots one. And so we're up there, final 12, and you can go vote on that. And I'll put links in the chat on YouTube, and they'll be all over our social media site. But the bigger one, which I was very surprised to be nominated for, was Best American Football Podcast. And they word it that way because soccer. So this one, the competition's a little steep. We got the Kelsey brothers. We got Mina Kimes. We got Nightcap with Shannon and Ocho. We made the final 12 of this one. God Bless Football with Stugatz and the Dan Libertard people. Phil Simms is in there, Hall of Fame, Super Bowl MVP, be damned. He's up against us in the final 12. So we got to vote here. We got to turn out the vote. And all joking aside, it's just an honor to be nominated with these guys. And I want to give a special thanks to the people here at our staff, Tom Ernessy, Big E, Ian Berger, Josh Katzker, Aaron Katzker, Marissa Marino, Robert Burns, Kevin Dern, and of course you, Josh Moser, who join us every week. Now, it's not just me; it's a team effort, and we've been doing this for a while now, and it's always nice to get a little recognition, whether we win or lose.
Yeah.
I don't think we're beating the Kelsey brothers. Spoiler alert! But it's nice to be even in the same conversation when it comes to Best American Football Podcast. So awesome! We had some fun news there.
Yeah, look, thank you to everybody that watches us on a nightly basis, on a weekly basis, whenever you tune in. We do this because we love to share our knowledge about the team. We do this to connect with the fan base, and it's just special. Sports is such an integral part of my life. It shaped me, and the opportunity to have you listen to me is a dream, and hopefully provide you with some fun entertainment and some knowledge that you didn't know. And it's always awesome to hang with Mike, and yeah, we're just super grateful and appreciative.
Yeah, and we have some fun along the way, too. Even when the team's losing, got to laugh, got to have some fun, because at the end of the day, it's really not that important whether we win or lose, but it is nice when we win like we did this week. Now, before we talk about the game, I got to have a quick word from our sponsor.
The DolphinsTalk.com podcast network is sponsored by Caneswear. Caneswear is the place to go for officially licensed apparel from the Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, the Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, and all of the professional and college teams in South Florida. Looking for the latest jersey, a birthday gift, or the newest hat to hit the market of your favorite South Florida team? Check out Caneswear for their overwhelming selection of sports apparel. Located at 2655 South University Drive, Davie, Florida, Caneswear has it all. Not in South Florida? No worries. Visit Caneswear.com to shop their inventory from the comfort of your home, and they'll ship it to you. international fans too. Caneswear.com is the spot that Miami fans shop. That's Caneswear.com. Caneswear.com.
All right, so Sunday the Dolphins eliminated the Jets and pretty much ended their season, which was over a while ago, but the end of their season. And I think with this game, it was the best of the Dolphins and kind of the worst, where, the quarterback plays great at the end, comes up clutch in crunch time. They get the late drive to tie the game. They get the touchdown drive to end it before the Jets even get the ball, and that's great. And it's the worst because they shouldn't have had to struggle this much versus a Jets team without Breece Hall, without Sauce Gardner. That's not very good. It's got nothing to play for. They made Aaron Rodgers of 2024 look like Aaron Rodgers of 2015. So you get the best of both worlds here in this roller coaster of a Miami Dolphins season where, yeah, you won, you're happy, you're great, you still got hope. But should it have been this hard, Josh, against this Jets team?
It shouldn't have. And I mean, that's the biggest question. Like, are you happy that the team won it? There's still something to play for going down the 4 points. Are you mad because this is a game that they were expected to win? They should have handled this team. And quite frankly, they eked it out in overtime and almost lost had it not been for Malik Washington returning that ball under a minute to play, past the 50-yard line. As a fan, I'm excited because there's still meaningful football to be played in December. This is the season this week against the Texans. I understand that Houston's a playoff team. They're going to have to play their best game. This is the hardest remaining team on the schedule. Remember, you still have to see the Jets again, and you're going up to their place. But what scares me, Mike, the Jets played probably their best game, but this game was at home, and now you got to go on the road. I understand that the Texans have lost. I think they're 2-3 in their last 5 or 3-2. They've lost a couple games recently, but they haven't seen the talent of a Joe Mixon with a Nico Collins, with a CJ Stroud on the road. And I mean, this Texans team arguably is better than that Packers team that we saw, even though their record doesn't indicate it. So, some good, some bad. I think Tua was phenomenal again. You hope that Raheem Mostert's healthy. He should be good to go this week dealing with that hip pointer. Teron Armstead, I don't know what the prognosis is with him. He's been battling so many things. He's obviously a big loss. And yeah, a lot of question marks for this team because I talked to Aaron Rodgers after the game and he just looked at me and he's like, should have called heads. I mean, and had the Dolphins not gotten the ball first in overtime, could have been a different outcome. But luckily something went in their favor. They were able to execute in that overtime. Finally, Jonnu Smith gets the ball in that too high shell coverage, hadn't had a catch all game. So you're happy that they won, but now it's like the big question to me, Mike, is just like, can this team truly put it together against a playoff caliber team? And my gut tells me no. And I hope that they prove me wrong, but everything in me says we did all of this to lose this game in Houston. And I really hope that I'm wrong.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong too, because I kind of feel the same way. And you mentioned Armstead, and we know, he's been injured, but he really hasn't missed significant time this year. So there's that. But he is starting to break down towards the end of the year. Versus the Packers, he struggled mightily. We might be at the point now, no matter what the record is, the pass the baton moment to Patrick Paul, as this is his job. Yeah. I just have a feeling we're there. With this, I don't care if it's a big game or if it's not a big game, if we're in the playoff hunt or not. I think Patrick Paul, just because he's healthy, might give you the better player on the field at this point, which is crazy to see because Armstead's so good, but he's just, when he's not 100%, he can get exposed. That's that. But I am not worried about this offense moving forward. I know there's issues. They cannot run the ball anymore, and I know there's issues on that side of the ball. This team with 4 games left, it's going to come down to the defense. Yep. Because, like I said, they made Aaron Rodgers look like 2015 Aaron Rodgers, and that should not have happened. And this defense right now cannot generate a pass rush outside of a few plays here and there from Chop Robinson, which they are a few here and there, which not his fault. They just don't have a consistent pass rush. Poor tackling, which again, it goes back to your linebackers and your safety play really there. They just aren't very good at wrapping guys up. They dropped a couple interceptions. I like Javon Holland. 6 months ago, I would have pounded this table. We got to re-sign Javon Holland at all costs. No, he has not had a good season. And I'm just going to say it that way. He has not played well this season, and he's not. No. And for a guy who wants to be paid like a top 5 or top 3 safety in this league, the tape isn't there this year for that to be justified. So I'm worried about this defense. We know Jordan Poyer all year, he struggled. Keter Kohu got banged up a little bit for the Packers. He hasn't looked great this year. I mean, he's okay. He has moments. He's not great. Cam Smith is hurt. He's out. Even when he was healthy, nothing. I mean, this defense, there's nothing left. Like, there's just, I don't know what they have left in the tank on that side of the ball. And I think someone like Joe Mixon could have like an all-star day this weekend, run for like 150 and 3 touchdowns, because I don't know who's going to tackle him in Miami now, and how they're going to wrap him up. And if they do, well, then they're just going to start throwing it over their heads with their wide receivers. So, yeah, that's where I'm nervous about this week, because I don't know what they got left on defense. It just seems like they used everything up, and they're just going out there trying to make a tackle.
Yeah. I mean, Fuller being back helps, but he's certainly not a number 2 corner. I'm sorry. It's just, you've got Jalen Ramsey, who's phenomenal, and you really didn't see much go his way, whether it was Wilson or Devontae Adams. But Fuller's a liability. We know Keter Kohu is more in the slot, and he's not meant to be out there on an island. He's going to have to do that sometimes. But as worried as I am about the defense, it's going to come down to, can this offense score points? That's where you spent most of your money. That's where you've invested the most. You're going to have to score 30 points again to win this game. You might need to score 34 points to win this game. I will say positively, Tyreek Hill had his best game of the season since week 1, and that went over Jacksonville. It's great to see them finally scheme him up to get him the ball. And Jaylen Waddle had moments finally, and then Jonnu Smith disappeared. So I need Mike McDaniel to – look, it's hard as a play caller. You want to get everybody touches. And this is where I feel like you've got to put your players in the best position. And when you're on the road, it's going to get a little bit tougher. We understand how this offensive line's built. We understand you need to get the ball out quickly. So here's the opportunity to say, we've grown, we've learned from our mistakes, and this is the season. This is it. And yeah, the defense has question marks. It's good to see Chop coming on. Jalen Phillips, obviously a huge loss. Bradley Chubb's practice window is still open. We don't know if he will play this upcoming Sunday. We'll find out a little bit more on Thursday. There's a walkthrough tomorrow, Wednesday. So we'll know realistically Friday if there's a chance. Cam Good, I don't know what he really gives you. I don't think it's much of an upgrade there. That's more of a depth play. Good to see Anthony Walker back in there, with the hamstring, but he's obviously not 100%, and it showed. So I think CJ Stroud, I think they're going to put up 27 points. So can you put up 27 points, more than 27 points? That's really the question that I have to Mike McDaniel in this offense. And based on the money that you've spent on that side of the ball on the road in December, the answer should be yes. You should score more than 27 points.
It should be yes. If they lose this game 35-33, I can live with that. Go down swinging, because all the money you invested in Hill and Waddle and Tua and everything, go down swinging, lose a shootout, I'm fine. Yeah. If this game's much like the Packers game, where it's over pretty much at halftime, then there's going to be a lot of grumpy fans again and more talk about should Chris Grier still be here, whether he probably is anyway, so it doesn't matter. You're going to get that chatter again. And, it's going to be another week where they're going to be asked, you can't beat good teams. Now, this one's not in the cold and snow, at least. It's inside. But it's still, there's that narrative. They can't beat good teams, period. Home or away, really. Can they beat one here? And this is a good spot. You can't cry about the weather. It's indoors. Let's see them go on the road, be Houston. It's something. Even if they don't make the playoffs, if they can say, you know what, we still beat Houston on the road in mid-December, late in the year when we were fighting for our lives, and that would be something to hang your hat on. I don't know if they can do it, but if they go down swinging and just, not the Packers game 2.0 again, that can't happen, because that will get grumpy fans out there who, I understand they might not make the playoffs. They probably won't make the playoffs. I think most fans kind of get that. It's like you got to draw like an inside straight here to get in the playoffs, which is tough. I get it. Yeah. But if you're alive at least week 17 and 18, that's something. And, win this game. Win this game.
Yeah, I think we talk about it every week. It's like, can they finally put all of these pieces together? And we've seen moments of greatness in all 3 phases separately, but can this team actually come together? And, this is where Jalen Ramsey's going to have to make a play. This is where we're going to need to see an X factor, someone that really hasn't done much, make a play outside of Devon Achane on offense. This is where, you want to see someone that normally isn't in the headlines take a step up. And when you have someone that can do that, that can greatly impact the game. Jordan Poyer sighting would be phenomenal.
One play this year would be nice. Yeah.
This is it. You're going to get Nico Collins. Tank Dell should be available. You've got a great tight end down there. You understand that there's no Stephon Diggs. Like, you know what this team is. You know what they're going to do. There's tape on them from all season. You know, you've got the resources to understand your assignments, and can you execute? And if you can't get up for this game and understand what this game represents, you know, obviously it'll be the end of the season, but, you know, it might be time to shake things up a little bit. And, you know, people are sick of just waiting for answers. Like, we want them to come. And we could talk about till we're blue in the face, but will they come? I guess that's why you got to play the game.
Yeah, I know. But it's just, I mean, at some point, this philosophy, which has improved the team since Mike McDaniel got here, they have, you know, they've improved greatly on offense since he took over. They, for the most part, I know this year it's down a little bit, but they put up points. They executed at a high level, and, you know, they're in the mix of the playoffs every year, which is great, because from where we were, from the Joe Philbin days, from the Adam Gase days, from the Tony Sparano days, you had a season here isolated or a season there isolated. No, now, for the most part, even this year, with not having him for 4 games, 2 obviously hurts, but they're in the mix, in the conversation, in the hunt in December. That hasn't always been the case. I know for fans, that's exciting, but there does come a point where it's like, what's next? We're past this. We want to win the AFC East eventually, maybe. We want to get a home playoff game, which hasn't happened since 2008. That's a long time, 2008. It's a long since your last home playoff game. Stuff like that. And, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
I've got a hot take for you.
Yeah.
If I'm Mike McDaniel, I win the coin toss. I want the ball. I
say that all the time. Play from in front. I say it all the time.
Yes. This team, again, they scored first against the Jets. When they score first on that opening drive, we've talked about this offense and how it's slow and methodical now. Like, I want the ball. I want the pressure. I want to score first. And I would honestly go for that. Yeah.
I understand the halftime thing in the game. You want to score before the half, to get the ball coming out. I understand that.
I get it.
And I get it. But you also have to coach the team you got. And last year, if that's what they want to do, they could, because the offense was so explosive and they had so many big plays. Go for it. Play the little halftime game. When right now you look at this team and go, we're hurting on defense. I mean, I don't care what they're saying, like we're the 8th defense in the NFL. That's stuff from September, October. That doesn't matter anymore. Right now, just watch the games. We're hurting on defense. I don't want to put them on the field first, and then we're down 3-0 or 7-0 coming out of the gate, and we're playing catch-up all day. No one wants to play catch-up all day, because that forces how you have to call the game. Try to play from in front. He won't do it because he is stubborn as the day is long. We know that, Josh, but he should. You're 100% right. He should. Yeah. And I want to see Weaver this week be a little bit more, be creative a little bit. I mean, you got nothing. I mean, what are you going to do? Give up a big play? You're probably going to give it up anyways. Be creative a little bit.
Yeah, but like when you send Jaylen Ramsey, it works a lot. And, you know, it was we'll call it a unique look. But now teams have seen that. And quite honestly, with the way the back end has been playing, I'm talking specifically about Kendall Fuller. I'm talking specifically about Jordan Poyer. And we're throwing Javon Holland in that mix simply because of what he's done recently. I don't have enough trust in those 3 guys to send my best corner. I would almost rather
Cater Kohu then. Send him
exactly.
on a blitz.
Send somebody else on a blitz. You're going to have to get home and get to C.J. Stroud. We know that this defense's Achilles heel has been mobile quarterbacks. And C.J. Stroud has continually gotten better. He can beat you with his legs. He's not Josh Allen, but this is a mobile quarterback that is, in my opinion, a step up from Jordan Love. Maybe comparable, but I think he's a little bit better than Jordan Love right now. And you're playing inside on turf. So it's going to be a lot faster. So, yeah. But again, it comes down, can you score? You need 35 points in this game. I think you get 9 possessions, and you're going to have to score on 7 of them, and you hope that you're hitting for touchdowns and not field goals.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. So we'll see what happens there. We've touched on this game a lot. I want to talk about the rest of the league, because we don't usually talk about the rest of the league much, but now we're going into like the final month, and we're seeing, you know, who the pretenders are, who the contenders are. In the NFC, I think it's either Lions, Packers, or Eagles. And I don't know the Rams, I don't trust. San Francisco's been so up and down. This might be a year they take a little step back. I think Lions, Packers, Eagles. Some people throwing the Vikings. I don't trust the Vikings in a big spot against those 3 teams. So I won't. You think those are the 3 best teams? And are the Lions so far ahead of those other 2, you think, or are they all pretty close?
I think they're pretty close. Look, I love Dan Campbell. I love what he's built there. I love the style.
He's their weakness. He's their weakness on a game day decision. He will call, like he did the NFC title game. He's one who will lose him a game.
Correct. but I love what he's built, and I love the players and how they're playing for him. And they truly believe. I mean, you want to talk about a Dolphins locker room needing to believe. When you have a coach, regardless of X's and O's, you can say this a lot in college. You can have a great recruiter and you can have a bad X's and O coach. We're looking at Mario Cristobal specifically here in Miami. That's been his rap since he's been in Oregon, etc. The phrase in the NFL that's thrown around is a leader of men. But you want to talk about someone that can get the most out of his players and someone that will, quote unquote, bleed for their brother. Dan Campbell does that. Now, you hope that you have enough of the X's and O's people around him where these mistakes don't happen. You don't want a Chris Webber timeout situation. To me, out of those three teams, it's still the Eagles. And I know everyone in Dolphins Nation is going to be upset. Vic Fangio's done a phenomenal job. Kellen Moore will probably be a head coach in this league. But, I mean, you have two brand new coordinators after this team made a deep run. Both those coordinators became head coaches. Nick Sirianni's done a phenomenal job. And New York Giants fans, it's just, I feel for you. I mean, the fact that Shane let Saquon walk and all the money that they gave to Daniel Jones and now releasing Daniel Jones, it's a fireable offense. And Dable's probably out of there too. And crazy because everybody wanted Dable over Mike McDaniel when he was hired here 3 years back. It's the Eagles to me are still the team, and simply because if you look at the players that they have on defense. I understand what their offense is, and I understand that Saquon's in the running for the MVP, but Jaylen Carter has been a force. All of the guys that they've gotten from Georgia, Darius Slade on the back end is still phenomenal. I mean, it's basically Georgia defense 2.0.
Yep, it is.
It's a mentality thing, and you watch them; they don't miss tackles like the Dolphins do, and a lot of these kids, they go to these SEC schools for this reason. And when you can get a group of those guys and put them in a room together and get them to grow together, they can be really, really special. I would favor them actually over the Lions, even though the Lions have a better record. And if this game's played at Ford Field, which is the only one that's inside, Lambeau's outside, you might get into a track meet just because of the players. Their running backs have been great. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a star. Laporta's a budding tight end. I mean, they've got pieces, but I just trust the Eagles. And then the question is, I hate to say it, I'm taking I'll take all three of those teams over the Chiefs. And the Bills to me are the runaway in the AFC. It's just, you got to prove me wrong. I'll call it black magic for Patrick Mahomes. They should have lost 3-4 games. They've got.
Oh my God, at least. Yes.
So,
and that's what, I think that's going to catch up with them at the worst possible moment, which is probably the playoffs. Because you cannot get every break, every bounce, every fumble versus the Raiders on Black Friday, the kickoff, the doink, whatever. Like, they've gotten every break. There's going to be a break you don't get, and that's going to come with the word. It's almost better if they didn't get one of these breaks and they actually lost one now. Just get it out of the way because it's coming. It's coming soon.
Yeah, Taylor Swift may stub her toe at a concert, whatever, and then all of a sudden it unravels.
And he's going to leave the field and run up to the booth and pick her up and take her to the hospital. And where's our tight end? We got no one to throw to.
Exactly.
But in AFC, I think the only thing, if I'm a Bills fan, that would concern me. Well, there's two things. One, the wide receiver play. If you in a certain game that could come back to haunt, they don't have great receivers.
Yeah,
now, Josh Allen's been so
hurt.
good. Josh Allen's been so good. They've overcome it this year, but in a big spot, whether AFC title game or even a Super Bowl, that might hurt them versus a really good team. The other thing, which is much like the Cubs or the Red Sox, this is bigger than them. Like, that city, that team has been cursed. They've been there. They've been so close. Yes, The Cubs, they broke through the Red Sox, but it took a lot of chances and a lot of swings, before they broke through. And maybe it's been a while for the Bills. Yes, they haven't been to the Super Bowl, but they've been close a couple times. This is sometimes stuff's bigger than you, just out of your control in sports. But I do think the Bills in the AFC, I'm still putting Pat Mahomes in a playoff game until someone knocks him off. Good luck. And I think in AFC, though, Ravens are a little down this year.
Steelers haven't lost with Russell Wilson.
Steelers that's a well-coached team. And with a quarterback who's got a chip on his shoulder. Yeah. I mean, if he's not coach of the year, I don't know who is, honestly. PJ get over Sean McDermott. I mean,
Yeah.
it has to be Mike Tomlin. In that division, which is brutal,
Toughest
he's gotten the
division.
most. Everyone picked him for last too. He got the most out of everybody, and the fact they're even here, yeah. So, but I do think Eagles, Lions. I think the NFC, those three at the top are great. AFC, Bills, Chiefs. If there's a sleeper team that could get hot late and just shock the world, it's San Francisco, because they got all the talent in the world. They just haven't played well this year. And if they can just get their what together, and look like last week, that might have been the first step. They can get their what together, home, away. They got the talent that can travel, but we haven't seen it this year. We haven't seen it this year.
McCaffrey's on IR. Mason's on IR.
I know. But they still got Samuel, and they still got Jennings that stepped up and been a star. Purdy still, is he elite? No, he's very, very good. They're battle tested. They've been to Super Bowls recently. The coach is bright, even though, I'm not the largest fan of him, Shanahan, but he's very, very good. He's very, I mean, you can't take that. He's still very good. I can't knock him too much. But if, and they got a lot of players, they still have a lot of talent. That's one of the best rosters top to bottom when healthy. Yes, some guys are hurt, but that's a team. If there's a team that's just going to come out of nowhere, that's it. Because there's not too many in the AFC. The Chargers aren't winning a playoff game. It ain't going to be Sean Payton and Broncos, who I think are going to get that last spot. I don't see that. I mean, they've had a great season, and they got a lot to look forward to. They ain't winning a playoff game.
Tampa may win a game. Baker could get hot.
You got Baker to surprise someone for a week. Yeah, that's true. You could surprise someone. But I think and everyone wants Lions, Bills, Super Bowl, and look, it's a great story. It is a great story. Someone's got to win one.
Two blue collar towns. The fan bases would be ridiculous.
New Orleans.
Oh boy, yeah, it's going to be an interesting week down there. Fat Tuesday is pretty close. It's got Mardi Gras vibes.
I told our fan of the year, Lisa. Dirty. Everyone loves Lisa. She's going. She won that as part of a trip for fan of the year. She can take her sister Amy, which is totally understandable and fine. I already told Amy, and I've told Lisa, Amy, if you can't make it for whatever reason, I am willing to go in your spot and go with Lisa to this game in New Orleans, because it's New Orleans, and that's going to be awesome. Lisa's laughing, so I don't know if she's okay, Mike.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
I'm just going to be honest with you. I can't wait till the Monday following the Super Bowl when I can go home. I had a recruiting trip to Tulane when I was in high school. Great stories from that I cannot share on a podcast. Green Wave. New Orleans. If anybody's watching, ever been to Key West, it's like an upgraded version of Key West. Like that's New Orleans. Puke all over the streets. Forget the beignets. I don't care what you say about the French Quarter. Got the creepy above ground graves everywhere because it's below sea level. Cajun food's incredible. The jazz is incredible. But I don't need no tacky beads or the Las Vegas drinks.
Or the mugs that light up green or blue, depending on which bar you're at.
Just go take a shower. That arena though it's new. It's a cool spot.
It's a cool spot. Yeah. Aaron, who has a podcast on us, with us from with his brother, he went there I think earlier this year. And he this is the food was everything that you said. This is the best trip I've ever had. It's awesome. So I know New Orleans is great, but so that'll be a fun trip. And it's on Fox, right?
It's on Fox. Let me put this on the record real quick. Jay-Z, you messed up by not giving Lil Wayne the halftime performance. It's disrespectful. A lot of people are really upset, and I'm one of them.
You're one of them.
One of them.
Who is the halftime performance? I forgot.
Kendrick Lamar.
Not
taking anything away from him, but this is New Orleans.
No.
It's Lil Wayne City. Want to see Birdman?
Yeah, but Tom Brady on this Tom Brady's gonna have this guy's back in the Super Bowl again. And doesn't Fox have it this year and next year, or this year and 2 years from now, right? So it's close together. They got two. Because I know they changed it for CBS to have it last year.
Yeah, we had it 2 years ago. It was in Phoenix, and then this is the second one. I don't think they have it again for 4 years.
Okay, so this is the second.
This is the second one. Last year was in Vegas. It was CBS, but the year before was Fox in Arizona, and then it'll be Fox this year. And
I know ESPN's got one soon with Joe Buck and Aikman which is going to be on ABC. But they put them in the rotation, I think, because of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, honestly. So that's going to be an interesting one because the ESPN people have never had one, and now they got one in this whatever cycle we're in. So that's kind of cool. All right, everyone, be sure to watch Josh Moser on WSVN 7. Follow him on social media at The Mose Knows. We'll be back next week talking about the Dolphins season being over or Still alive, baby.
You just got to cut the
Hope we'll
show
still-
right there. The season being over. Cut.
Because if they win, this fan base is going to be so jazzed up. San Francisco, we got games left. San Francisco game, final home game of the year. People will be going nuts, and I mean, it would be quite the scene if the Dolphins just keep stringing this along. And this week you got Colts, Broncos, another big game. Dolphins fans have to watch if we win, of course. If we lose,
need the Broncos to win that game.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. But all right, Josh, thanks so much. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll talk to you again after a while.